Don't drink your coffee until after 10 a.m. or you'll spike your cortisol. Eat your protein within 30 minutes of waking. Never work out fasted. It floods your body with stress hormones. Stop eating after 7 p.m. Eat every 3 hours or your cortisol crashes. No, wait. Fast for 16 hours to heal your hormones. Or wait, fasting is terrible for women, so never skip breakfast. Have you guys heard all of those things? At least you've heard one or two of those things. And if you have felt that you cannot win, like there is a rule for literally everything you do around food, and the rules always contradict each other, and you somehow, one way or the other, are doing all of it wrong, then I need you to hear this. You, love, are not the problem. The rules are. So today we are talking about cortisol, again, and food timing. We're going to undo the coffee rules, the meal timing rules, the fasting rules, and the eat in this window kind of rules. And I'm going to free you from almost all of them because most of them are only built on a sliver of physiology that has been stretched into some sort of commandment. By the end of this episode, you're going to eat with a lot more peace and a heck of a lot fewer rules. And your body is absolutely going to thank you for it. Welcome back to Healing Her Feminine. I am Lindsey Alexis, functional hormone and nervous system coach. This episode today is going to be part 4 in our Hormone Culture is Lying to You series. So far, we have covered essentially the whole trend. We've dismantled cortisol belly and cortisol face. Last week, we took apart cortisol supplements. And today is all about food timing and the endless rules about when and how to quote unquote manage your cortisol. So if y'all haven't heard the first 3 episodes, I do encourage you to go back and listen to them. You can find all of them on any podcasting or music streaming site that y'all use, as well as my personal website, lindseyalexis.co/blog. And if you don't have any way of watching it on YouTube or listening to it, or you just want a better synopsis or even more grounded research on the things that I say, going to the blog part of my website has it all written out for you in more of a readable type form with the extra research links included in that. So again, for those of you who like to dive deeper on the things that we talk about on the podcast, definitely check out the blog for that information. Okay, so I want to put this out there first. This is the episode where a lot of women feel the most relief because timing rules are where a lot of us feel the most exhausted. They are joy-stealing rules and produce so much anxiety and just unnecessary noise in our lives. So the rules have been making eating one of the most basic and pleasurable human acts that we could do, because food is amazing. It has made it into this minefield of doing it all wrong. So today we're going to clear that minefield. Now, let's start with the most famous one, which is don't drink your coffee right when you wake up because it spikes your already high morning cortisol. I have said this across multiple podcast episodes as well as guest podcasts that I have been on. But I have said it in a way that has nothing to do with your cortisol, and this is where it differentiates, because the kernel of truth in that is that cortisol does follow a daily rhythm. It matches your circadian rhythm. They go hand in hand. And cortisol is naturally its highest in the morning. There is something called the cortisol awakening response, where cortisol rises sharply in the first 30 to 45 minutes after you wake up. It's real and it is healthy. It is literally what helps you get up in the morning and get going. That is why when your circadian rhythm is messed up, you're not sleeping correctly, your cortisol is more than likely also unbalanced. So the rule that we hear says, if your cortisol is already peaking, adding caffeine can also nudge that cortisol level. So it's basically like piling stress on top of stress. So you should wait until your natural cortisol levels dip, which is about mid-morning, and then that's when you should have your coffee. Now, here's the truth about that rule. Actual research on caffeine and cortisol is mixed and modest. There's really not a whole lot out there. Caffeine can cause a small rise in cortisol, yes. But in habitual coffee drinkers, which is a lot of us, the body has already adapted, and that cortisol response significantly over time is blunted. Okay, so for the average woman who is drinking coffee daily, the cortisol bump from her morning cup of coffee is so small because you're already largely adapted to it. The idea that it's meaningfully harming your hormones for most people is overstated to the point that it's literally not an issue. So does that mean that the rule is completely baseless? No, it doesn't. If you are someone who feels jittery, anxious, and wired from coffee on an empty stomach, then waiting a bit or just simply having it with food might genuinely feel better for you. And that is worth honoring. But notice the difference between some people feel better having coffee with food, and you're damaging your hormones if you drink coffee at the wrong time. That first one is helpful because it's self-awareness. The second one is just fear-based noise. So here's my actual take on the whole coffee situation. If your morning coffee on an empty stomach makes you feel good, drink it and enjoy it. If it makes you feel shaky and anxious, then have it with food or afterwards. That's basically the whole rule. And it's based on how you individually feel, not on a cortisol curve graphic. Your body will send you feedback. And that is what matters more than this whole trend and the timing chart. Honestly, for many women, even the just anxiety of whether they're drinking their coffee at the wrong time is doing a lot more harm to your nervous system than the coffee ever could. The stressing out about this rule is way worse than the thing the rule is actually about. So please let that one go. The next rule is never work out fasted, that you will flood your body with cortisol and break down muscle, wreck your hormones. It's not effective. It's not efficient, et cetera, et cetera. And I will actually tell you, literally 2-3 days ago, I was scrolling on my Instagram, and this doctor that I highly respect was interviewing another doctor who I have no clue who she is, about this subject. And she actually stated that women should be eating before they work out because of the way food fuels your metabolism during and after the exercise. And so this is kind of where I want to break this down at, because she's not wrong, but she's also not right. Here's the truth. So exercise in and of itself is a stressor. It does raise cortisol. It's supposed to. It is the whole point. It is a hormetic stress. It is a beneficial challenge your body adapts to and grows stronger from. Working out fasted does mean that you're exercising without recently eaten any fuel, which can mean that there's going to be somewhat of a higher cortisol response, a higher stress response for some people. I personally cannot work out after I've eaten something. My workout, it doesn't matter if it's, it does matter if it's cardio, but even strength training, it's not as efficient. I can't do stronger reps, or I can't do more reps. That's my body. That's my feedback. So for most people, moderate fasted movement, like a morning walk or some yoga or moderate strength training, is going to be completely fine and actually even beneficial. That cortisol rise from exercise is normal and healthy in the context of an otherwise nourished, rested body. The fear mongering around fasted workouts treats a normal physiological response as if it is damage. And so here's where the real nuance is. And it matters for women, okay? If you are someone who is already under eating, or you're over exercising, or you're chronically stressed out, you aren't getting quality sleep, you know for a fact that you're already dealing with hormonal dysregulation, then yes, doing intense fasted training will add stress that your body just doesn't have the resources to handle. So in that specific context, eating something before you train, even if it's just something small, can genuinely support your body better. But again, it's about your overall state, and it's not a universal rule that fasted movement is dangerous. So, same as the last rule, if you feel good doing a fasted morning walk or workout and you're otherwise nourished and rested, you're fine. Enjoy it. However, if you feel depleted, shaky, or you know you're just in this dysregulation type state, then please eat something first. It can be a banana, right? Something small. Again, the rule is your body's feedback. It is not a blanket statement. Do you guys see a theme that is building? Now let's talk about one of the biggest ones that has been around for years. When and how often to eat. You have people who say, eat every 3 hours to stabilize your cortisol. Then you have other people who say, no, you need to fast. Do intermittent fasting. Fast for 16 hours. There are people who say, stop eating at 7 p.m. There are people who say, front load your calories at breakfast. There are people who say, don't eat carbs at night. Don't eat. Then there are people who actually say the opposite and say, you should eat carbs at night for sleep. So all of this just creates this entanglement, this maze, and it feels like everything shifts all the time, like the floor shifting underneath of you all the time. So let me cut through with what actually matters, because underneath all of the timing noise, there is literally only a few things that genuinely do affect your cortisol and your hormones through food. First, and probably the most important one, and I've talked about this one many times before on the podcast, blood sugar stability. This is the real thing that the timing rules are basically circling around, but they're not hitting on. When your blood sugar spikes and crashes, that roller coaster ride, the crashes trigger a cortisol and adrenaline response because your body treats low blood sugar as an emergency. It makes sense. So the actual goal isn't some magic eating window. It is keeping your blood sugar relatively stable. And you do that through how you build your meals. Has nothing to do with timing for the most part. Protein, fat, and fiber. We have talked about the PFF plate many times over. I think the very first time I mentioned it to y'all was in episode 7. So you guys can go back and check episode 7 out if you would like more information on everything blood sugar stability. When you eat these things with your carbohydrates, it is going to slow the release of sugar into your bloodstream, which therefore prevents this spike crash cortisol cycle. A meal of just refined carbs at any time of the day is going to spike you and it's going to crash you. A balanced meal will keep you steady. That is what matters far more than the clock. Second is, please do not let yourself get into this hangry state. And we joke about it, but it's real. This desperate, ravenous, hungry state. When you go too long without eating and you hit that shaky, irritable, I can't think place, that actually is a cortisol response. Your body is stressed because it needs fuel. And for some women, this means eating regularly works better. For others, a long gap between meals may be fine because you are capable of staying stable. The point is, there's no universal frequency. It's not pushing your body into a stress state from lack of fuel. And I will tell you a personal story. In high school, for me, I skipped breakfast. Completely naive to what that was doing. On top of skipping breakfast, I was taking a personal fitness course that was very rigorous. Like, I can't even explain to you how rigorous it was. We had a combination of strength training, running laps and bleachers, and At the end, we did one of the workout videos like Taibo or one of the military boot camp videos that they used to have. Oh my gosh, I'm throwing myself back now. I am aging myself. Anyways, we would do all 3 of those every single day, Monday through Friday. But I wasn't eating breakfast. So naturally, I started to have migraines, and they were persistent and they would not stop, to the point where one day I was in chorus shortly after this personal fitness class, and we were practicing for one of our concerts, and I was on one of the back bleachers, and I remember I was singing, and I started to get dizzy, blurring, like couldn't see. And my teacher, I guess my face must have washed out. She saw it. Bless her soul. She reached between the 2 rows that were in front of me and pulled me down off of the bleacher and literally guided me to the seat and sat me down. And I was so hot. All I remember is being so hot because I fainted, or I was about to faint. So I got up and I went out into the hallway, and then that cold air from the hallway hit me, and I came out of it. Point being, I realized or learned a very hard lesson that day. I need to eat breakfast. And the reason why I wasn't eating breakfast is because I was genuinely trying to lose weight and gain muscle. And looking back now, you can't gain muscle if you aren't fueling your muscles to build themselves. So if you are struggling with migraines and you know that you are skipping meals, along with something else I'm about to mention, then the amount of food that you eat in a day needs to be looked at. Because more than likely, if you're having chronic migraines, consistently like that, that's probably what it is your body isn't getting enough fuel, which is therefore triggering hormonal responses that is causing your migraines. I ended up, let's say 10 years later, having migraines rarely, but I was still having them. And it wasn't until my gynecologist was like, hey, you're having these aura migraines and you've been on this birth control pill, and you need to not be on this birth control pill because you're having excess estrogen in your system, which is causing these aura migraines. Once I stopped taking the estrogen pill, which was already a low estrogen as it was the lowest estrogen pill you could get on the market. And I know we're sidetracking here, but once I came off of that and switched to a different progesterone only pill, I've never had migraines since. So just know, if you are someone who's suffering from migraines, it's probably, and I'm not diagnosing you, so again, no blanket statements here, but look into it. It's probably how much food you are getting, and it's probably not enough. Or you are fasting and your body doesn't tolerate fasting. Or you have some sort of dominance in your hormonal patterns that needs to be looked at, and having a doctor kind of figure that out for you is really helpful. And I say that because, having experienced migraines for so many years, I'm here to advocate for you. Okay. Going back to what we were just talking about, let's go to number 3, which is exactly what I was just pinpointing at. So it's not even just the fact that we are going too long without eating. It is also that we are not eating enough when we do eat. Okay, so that's the third one, is we're not eating enough overall. Chronic undereating is one of the biggest hidden drivers of cortisol dysregulation in women. When you don't eat enough, your body stays in a low grade survival stress all of the time. There are so many women who are unknowingly under eating in pursuit of weight loss, and then wondering why their cortisol is wrecked, their circadian rhythm isn't like it should be, they're not getting rest, and their weight is not coming off. It doesn't matter what they do. Because your body needs to trust that fuel is coming. And I want to pause here because this also goes back to that skipping breakfast situation. There are women in my life that I know who skip breakfast and also do not eat enough at the same time. So when I come in to help them and I say, hey, if this is your target weight and this is what we know about your body and where you're coming from and all the things that we look at, these are the macros that you should be getting, ideally, per day. I like to do macros per week, but I also like to get in the beginning a good visual on what the amount of food actually looks like. Because 9 times out of 10, I will show somebody how much food they actually should be eating to hit their weight loss goal, along with balancing hormones and all the other things that we deal with. And they're like, oh my gosh, that is so much more than what I normally eat, especially at breakfast. And so if this is you, I want you guys to take it slow. I want you to initially see what a plate of food actually looks like for you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And see how much of that first time you actually can eat. And then make a mental note of it, because every time that you eat thereafter, slowly increase what you're eating. And I say this because what has happened over time of not eating and not eating enough is your stomach has literally shrunk. So you're trying to fit your actual amount of meal that you should be eating for sustainability and feeling safe, your body trusting it. But your stomach has shrunk. So it's not going to fit everything in. And also don't blame yourself for it either. Like, don't beat yourself up that you can't eat what you were supposed to, the amount you're supposed to eat. This is why we do things over longer periods of time, because your body is so used to what you have been doing that it literally takes time to adjust and grow. It's like, if I wanted to go run a 5K tomorrow, I can't. There's no way, I haven't trained for it. You can't just get up one day and say, hey, I'm going to go run or do these extenuous exercises the next day and reach that goal effectively. It's not going to work. You have to build, right? It's a practice for a reason. It is a journey for a reason. It is needing to be guided, coached, trained for a reason, because you're not going to get from A to Z overnight. It's just not going to happen. So if this is you, where you know that you've been under eating or going too long without eating, and that initial phase of how much you are supposed to be eating looks like a lot and actually feels like a lot, it probably is a lot. And that's okay. But that is something to grow towards, not something you have to accomplish overnight. Okay, so just know that moving forward if this is resonating with you. So, summing all these points up, all these 3 points right here up around food, is notice what actually matters. Your blood sugar stability, not getting to that hangry state, and also eating enough. None of those 3 things have anything to do with a timing window. They're about how you build your meals and making sure that you are nourished. That's it. This whole clock obsession is mostly a distraction from these basic and really simple principles. So let me dive a little deeper into the whole fasting methodology. This is where it is genuinely more complicated for women. And the fact that it's everywhere really doesn't help the situation. I have said this time and time again, but for purposes of this podcast episode, I will say it again. Intermittent fasting got popular partly on real research, but most of that research was done on men or postmenopausal women. If you are menstruating, the picture is a lot different and it's way more delicate because women's bodies are exquisitely sensitive to signals of scarcity. Why? Reproductivity. Your body needs to know that there is enough resources and safety available to support a potential pregnancy. Whether you intend to get pregnant or not, your body, from a basic standpoint, the reason why you menstruate is so that you can carry a baby. That's all that it's for. Well, it has other components, but the main reason is for pregnancy. So if you are not providing your body with the necessary resources, the nutrients, the signs and signals that you can get pregnant, that you are safe to be pregnant, your body's going to be dysregulated. It's really that simple. So extending fasting, doing these extensive fasting plans, they sound cute, but they're not, especially combined with the stressful cultural cues that we have every day and exercise. I told you my story about fasting, not eating enough, and intense exercises and what happened. This was that. Doing this can signal scarcity to a woman's body. It will disrupt your hormones. It'll disrupt your cycle. It'll disrupt your thyroid. And yes, that also means your cortisol and your circadian rhythm. Literally everything. Your nervous system, all wrapped up into all of that. So this doesn't mean that no woman should ever fast or that the 12-hour overnight fasting from dinner to breakfast is dangerous, because it's not. That's normal. That's normal eating. You were meant to do that. You were meant to fast while you sleep. Actually, your body does a lot of helpful things, clearing things out during that time. It's still active even while you were asleep. Your body does not shut down just because you slept. What this means is that the aggressive fasting protocols that are marketed as hormonally healing, they can backfire for women who are still cycling, especially those who are stressed out and are under eating. the very thing that you guys are being sold as the solution is actually deepening the problem. And here's the part that basically ties this whole series together. Fasting often appeals to women precisely because it is another form of control and restriction that is dressed up as health. Like we've been mentioning the entire series, it is diet culture in a wellness costume again. So if you find yourself drawn to fasting, it's genuinely worth asking gently, is it serving your body? Or is it just scratching the restriction itch that we've literally been trained into with diet culture for years? Restriction. Ask yourself, my personal honest take for cycling women when it comes to fasting is a natural overnight fast is fine. Aggressive, prolonged fasting, especially if you're stressed out or under eating, it is not going to be your friend. Your body wants to know that it is safe and that it is resourced, and fasting will whisper the opposite. So, there is something underneath all of these timing rules that I really want to call out for you guys. And I just kind of hit on it. All of these rules, do this, don't do this at this time, don't do this at this time, take this, buy this, etc. This will help with this. All of these promise control. And I want you to sit with that for a minute, because control feels safe, especially when your body feels chaotic. What do we do when our lives feel chaotic? Most of us either create structure and plans and try to control it, or we ignore it because we have the option to ignore it, which is also a form of control. If I don't deal with it, I don't have to control it. It's not going to affect me. What they say, ignorance is bliss, right? So if I eat at the right times, or I drink my coffee at the right hour, or I fast within this window, then I'll have mastered my body and I'll finally feel okay. That's not true. The rules offer a sense of mastery over something that feels out of control. But here's what the rules actually are doing. They are taking you out of your body and into your head. Instead of feeling whether you're hungry, you can check the clock. Instead of noticing whether the coffee feels good, you consult the rule. Instead of sensing what your body actually wants, you override it with what you're supposed to do. The rules sever you from your own internal signals. And that in of itself is a type of dysregulation. Honestly, it is a form of self-abandonment. So if you have self-abandonment issues, I bet you there's a lot in your life you are gripping and trying to control. And I bet you your body is one of them. Know that you cannot be regulated and at war with your own hunger and body at the same time. The deepest truth about eating for your hormones is not a set of rules. It is reconnection. It is coming back into your body enough to feel, am I actually hungry? What does my body want right now? Does this feel nourishing or does it feel depleting? How do I actually feel an hour after I eat this? That embodied awareness is worth way more than every timing rule combined because it's responsive to your actual body in real time. To you, nobody else. No external rule can resolve that. This is a somatic intuitive piece that this whole trend of cortisol regulation can never sell you, or any trend for that matter. We can jump on the GLP-1 trend if we want. We can jump on the thermogenics trend if we want. We've talked about those in this series. This cannot be packaged. Your body has been trying to communicate its needs the entire time. The timing rules in diet culture masked as these different wellness costumes has taught you to stop listening. The healing is in listening again. And I want to say something tender here, as if I haven't been talking tender the whole time. If you have spent years at war with food, the timing, the counting, the restricting, the fearing, just listening to your body can actually feel kind of impossible. It might actually feel scary because you don't trust your body's signals anymore. And that's okay. That's why you're here. That trust can be rebuilt gently over time. It literally starts with just one meal where you get enough slowly and you check in afterward. You are not behind. You're allowed to come home to your body at your own pace, which is actually really freeing, is it not? You get to decide because your body is being allowed to decide. Your intuition is telling you everything that you need to know. You just have to give yourself permission to tune in. So let's get a little practical. If you want to eat in a way that genuinely supports your cortisol and your hormones, then here's the actual short list that is completely free of all of this noise. Build balanced meals, your PFF plate, along with your carbohydrates. It'll stabilize your blood sugar, which is actually the real driver of food-related cortisol. And that matters way more than timing. Make sure you're eating enough. Don't chronically undereat. Your body needs to feel resourced and safe. Undereating drives the cortisol. And take it slow if you have been undereating. Take it slow and build your way back up. Don't let yourself get ravenous. Whatever frequency keeps you out of shaky, hangry, stress state, that's your frequency. That's how often you should be eating. Some people, it's going to be 3 meals. Some people, it's going to be those meals plus some snacks. Your body is the one that's going to tell you, not me, not any other guru out there. Drink your coffee when it feels good to you. And if it makes you feel jittery, add food to it. That's the whole coffee rule. It's really not that complicated. move or exercise fasted if it feels good and you're nourished and you're well rested. If you are not those things, then eat first. And it could be something really small, like I mentioned. It could be a handful of macadamia nuts. It could be a banana. It could be a small cup of yogurt, whatever it is. If you feel depleted, eat something. Skip aggressive fasting if you are still menstruating, especially if you are someone who is stressed out or is under eating. Normal overnight fasting is plenty of fasting time. Your body knows what to do. And above all, start rebuilding the habit of checking in with your actual body instead of all of these rules. Before you eat, pause. Am I actually hungry? Or am I just feeling emotional? Do I just need some water? 9 times out of 10, guys, when you go to snack, especially if it's something carb related, it's probably because you're dehydrated. Drink some water with electrolytes, wait a few minutes, and see if you're still hungry. And if you are still hungry and you're going for something carby, eat something that has protein in it first. A couple slices of deli meat, a cheese stick, a piece of jerky, a boiled egg, things like that. Avocado is also something that you could eat, even though that's a fat, but it has good protein in it. Eat something small that is high protein before you go for the carbohydrates, okay? Ask yourself, does this feel nourishing? Then after you eat, again, check in, just like I just did. How do I feel? That feedback loop, that's your actual guide. That's your real guide. And if you are sitting there and you're thinking, Linz, I have been following rules for so long, I genuinely do not know what my body is telling me anymore. That is incredibly common, and I want you to know that. It's also exactly where I want you to begin. You can find out where your body actually is right now in this very moment. And I'm going to help you with that because that is what I'm here for. Recently, I built a very short quiz, literally 3 minutes tops for you to take. It is called the Body Reconnection Score. And it maps exactly how connected or disconnected you are from your body signals. The same signals all of these timing rules have quietly taught you to override. Like I said, it literally takes a few minutes. And at the end, you get your score, you get your result, and you also get a personalized 3-step plan to start coming back into your body, all of which is sent straight to your inbox. There are no rules to memorize. There is no clock to obey, just an honest, clear picture of where you are and one gentle way forward from there. It's also free. And the link for that is in the show notes. You can go to lindsayalexis.co/score. If you've spent this whole episode realizing how far the rules have actually pulled you away from yourself, then this quiz is literally like the softest place to start finding your way back to yourself. That being said, I have something for you this week that I want you to practice. I want you to pick one rule, one of these food rules that you've been following out of fear, whether it's the coffee one, the fasting one, when to eat, how much to eat, carb this, no carb that, whatever it is. I want you to gently experiment with letting it go just for a few days and just one. As you do this, I want you to pay attention to how your body actually feels without this rule in place. Not how you think you should feel, okay? We're going to get out of our heads and we're going to get into our bodies. So I don't want you logically thinking, oh, I should feel this way. I want you to tune into how you actually feel. You might find the rule never served you, wasn't for you. However, you might find that it makes you genuinely feel better. Or there might be some middle ground, right, that genuinely serves you better. But I want you to see, if it does serve you, that it is serving you because it actually serves you, your body, not because someone told you that this is what you should do, and not out of this fear that your hormones are dysregulated if you don't do it, okay? There's a difference. Either way, I want you to move from this rule following to bodily listening. That is the shift. So let me wrap all this up and bring this home for you guys. Almost all of these food timing rules are a sliver of real physiology that is stretched into some blanket statement or commandment, and most of them are taking you out of your body rather than helping you heal it. What actually matters is way simpler. Balanced meals, enough food, not getting hangry, and reconnecting with your own hunger and fullness. The clock matters far less than the trend wants you to believe. You don't need more rules. You don't need more protocols. All you need is permission to come back into your body and trust what it's telling you. And that permission, it's yours. And it always was. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for being willing to question the rules and the status quo that have been running and honestly probably ruining your relationship with food. That willingness is how you free yourself from all of this noise and chaos. Next week, we are going somewhere deeper. We have spent 4 episodes dismantling this trend. Now we're going to turn toward the real medicine. We're going to start by talking about your nervous system. And I'm going to address something that I keep hearing women say all the time, and it's so frustrating to hear it. Even some of my own coaches say the same thing, and I just want to scream at them in a loving way, I promise. It is that they feel addicted to their own stress. The statements are, your nervous system is dysregulated because you're addicted to cortisol, or you aren't manifesting these things because your cortisol levels are high, or you're addicted to the dopamine that comes with the cortisol. Like there's some sort of variation, and it's irritating. So I don't want you to miss the next episode. Until then, please be gentle with yourself, guys. Eat the breakfast, drink the coffee, just trust in your body because it is way wiser than any of these rules. This is Healing Her Feminine. I'm Lindsey Alexis. Y'all take care of yourself.